If, like me, you want to live in a world where men and women are completely equal, not just in theory, but in actual practice, then you'd better get used to being called a racist by women who call themselves feminists. Progressive feminists, to be precise, or third-wave feminists, as they're sometimes known. Now, personally, I'm happy to be called any number of ugly names if it helps to draw attention in some small way to the glaring fact that progressive feminists are traitors to their gender. It's entirely thanks to their poisonous influence that when it comes to Islam, the words feminist and hypocrite go together as seamlessly as the words dickless and jihad. Can I say that? I ask because I read recently that a notorious group of hardline progressive feminist nutcases has been enlisted to help censor social media and crack down on free speech that hurts people's feelings. So I'd better be careful what I say here, otherwise... Wait, did I hear a click? Am I still here? Let's keep our fingers crossed and plough on. Now, everyone knows that feminism has been morally bankrupted by the cowardly refusal of the ones with the biggest mouths, the progressive feminists, to confront the greatest threat to women in the world today, Muslim misogyny. I'll say it again for you girls who still have your fingers in your ears, that's Muslim misogyny. We all know you want to ignore it, you couldn't have made that any more obvious. But it would be nice if just once in a while you could say something critical about it, just to reassure us that you're not quite the totally unprincipled, self-obsessed hypocrites we all think you are. No offence. Seems like the only time progressive feminists make any noise about Muslim misogyny is when they're shouting people down and calling them racists for opposing it. But then progressive feminists are not real feminists. And yes, there are still some of them around. It's just that their voices aren't heard so much because they tend to tell the unpleasant truth about Islamic immigration and its consequences for women, and nobody wants to hear about any of that, so it's fingers in ears, racist, racist, all men are rapists, tra-la-la-la. One thing progressive feminists love is to challenge the patriarchy. As long as it's not the Muslim patriarchy that treats women as actual possessions, mustn't challenge that one or you'll be a racist. And if anyone else challenges it, you should call them a racist and a misogynist if they answer back and you think you can get away with it. As long as it's not a Muslim man, of course. Muslim men can't be misogynist or racist, as that would be racist. You see, Muslim men are at the top of the progressive feelings hierarchy of unreasonable, oversensitive people who must always be agreed with and never offended, especially the ones with the great big unhygienic bushy beards. They're right at the top of the pile, those boys. They even outrank loud-mouthed black lesbians, if you can believe it. So of course this means that the #1 rule of progressive feminism is that you never draw any kind of attention to the plight of women in the Muslim world being abused and persecuted every day by Muslim men, being forcibly married, being punished for being raped. Oh, and whatever you do, don't mention the 1,000 women a year in Pakistan who are murdered by members of their own family. If you do, you'll be a far-right racist. You'll be excluded from the progressive bubble. The dinner party invitations will quickly dry up, and then you might as well kill yourself. If you don't mind me saying so. The progressive sellout to Islamic misogyny is so total, we're witnessing the death of feminism. There's now such a complete lack of credibility. Nobody takes it seriously anymore. Feminism is now seen merely as a playpen for crybabies and bullies, censorious, small-minded, safe space harpies who hate being women and who want everyone else to compensate them for it. And they're such incorrigible whores to Islam, especially to Muslim men. They defer to them so eagerly on women's rights, it's as if they have an unhealthy desire to be dominated by Muslim men. I'm not saying they're attracted to them necessarily, they probably despise them as much as they despise all men. But of course, being progressives, they despise themselves even more for being so racist about it, and subconsciously they want to be punished. It's the only explanation for their behaviour that makes any sense. So presumably for them, an Islamic invasion of Europe couldn't have come at a better time. Because nobody knows how to punish a woman like a third-world Muslim man, surely the most inadequate human creature on this planet, with all due respect. Raised by his mother to have no regard for women and too stupid and selfish to know any better, his horizon begins at the end of his penis where his brain resides. Of course, I'm not saying that they're all like that. I wouldn't want to be some kind of racist. I'm sure it's just a few bad apples imported wholesale from bad apple land, the land of rape culture. And millions more bad apples are on their way, you lucky ladies. Who's going to stop them? The Greeks? And soon, when Europe is flooded from top to bottom with third world Muslim bad apples, doing what they do best, making themselves thoroughly unwelcome, then progressive feminists with their refugees welcome signs will find out the hard way, when it's too late, that what they wished for is not what they want. And when women's safety and freedom in Europe eventually become so constricted that they are effectively relegated back to the shadows, it'll be very unfortunate, but what can we do? If third world Muslim men insist that uncovered women are asking to be molested, and they do, who's going to argue with them? Only a racist, surely, or a far-right hate monger. Certainly not a progressive feminist. She knows her place.